What's going on, guys? NealGuides here. In today's video we're going to go over the 4-4-2 custom tactics and instructions, the second variation, one which is with two CDMs, which are arguably the most balanced formation in the game. This is a formation you can use for the entire game. It's a bit more on the attacking end compared to a 4-2-3-1, and we all know the 4-4-2 is the most balanced, but the one with the CDM is what we're talking about, which will guarantee that safety on the back line. And don't forget, this video is of course sponsored by my FIFA School Series. If you do want to get better at FIFA, you can come join my FIFA School Series. Don't forget, we've got loads of videos. We've got the Division 10 to Elite Division Series and loads of other tutorials included as well. Patreon.com/NealGuides, link is down below in the description. And if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money. That's how sure I am that you will get better. But let's go straight into the tactics and instructions. Link is down below for the Patreon. So, tactics. Now, again, this is the formation to be used for all the game, okay? So you can use this, for example, from like the first, I would say, the first minute up until the last, okay? So we don't want to be going with anything too aggressive. We're just going with balance, okay? The 4-4-2 second variation is quite a good formation. It's quite spread out anyway. So if you ever want to be more attacking, you can always activate team press, or if you're losing, activate team press in your D-pad tactic. Now for the width, what we've done is just put 55. 4-4-2 is quite a good formation. Now you do have the two CDMs that lock out the center of the pitch. The width is mainly just going to defend when you have the ball. Now the problem is that when you have the ball, it's more of when you lose the ball, the defensive width of the players and the gaps in between each players. Now, truthfully speaking, when you get counter-attacked, you cannot stop it. That's the problem. In any formation that you play, people always ask me, hey, look, when I lose the ball, my width is too wide. Well, you can maybe try to decrease your attacking width, but at the end of the day, it does take some time for you to transfer from your attacking width to your defensive width. So I'd say don't have too much of a big discrepancy. Don't have, for example, this on 80, for example, and have your defensive width different. So what I would say is just go 55. It's a good balance. 4-4-2 is quite a wide formation anyway. And to defend against the through ball metas, which are normally down the wing, you do cover a lot of the space. It's very, very good for pressing. You want to be as wide as possible when you don't have the ball, so you can cover as much of the pitch and you can press as well. The depth bonus to 65. It's a good conservative balance. You know, it's not so offensive like, for example, my 4-2-2. This is way of like a very, very attacking formation, especially with press out possession loss. You're pressing every 7 seconds. We are not doing that. We're just going with a more systematic, safer option. You can even use 60 if you do find 65 a bit too high. We just want to be up. We want to be forward. We want to be high up the pitch to win the ball. But we don't want to give up position. We don't want to run out with our CDM. We don't want to run out with any players. We don't want to create any gaps. We want to be high up the pitch so we can attack and press and also be quite wide. For the build-up play, in all honesty, you can just use balanced. What I would do is say, if you are used to using long ball, you can use long ball and then balance chance creation. You'll see a lot of the top tier players and the pro players using this is because they rely on L1 triggers quite manually. If you do like direct passing, you can use direct passing, but I think for most of you guys, balanced is completely fine. With long ball, I would say the build-up play you do on the L1 triggers. If you are going to be abusing the L1 triangle meta or the through ball meta, then I would say definitely long ball is the way to go. It does give you the edge because don't forget, long ball is basically means getting behind. So when you do get the ball, especially in the first 2/3, long ball just means that these players are going to be making runs going forward. In the final third, we have unbalanced. So it kind of depends on the player's instructions, but I'll get onto that in a second. We're going to put getting behind on the strikers, but the final third chance creation is pretty good in the 4-4-2. It's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you got one guy here, one guy here, one guy here, one guy here, and you got two center mids. It's pretty self-explanatory in the final third. It's not that hard to create the triangle yourself. The most important thing is the 1-2s. Now for the attacking width, now I personally in my 4-4-2s, I normally go around 50 because the 4-4-2 is quite a wide formation anyway. And what you want to do is you want to create a system where your left mid and right mid and your back, your two strikers are basically lining up and up against your opponent's back four. So you basically want a player for every single one of your opponents, and you can always add a player to go forward to create the numerical advantage. So I just prefer this to be unbalanced. There's no need to change this. You know, if you look at even the pro players' custom tactics, they're very much balanced. Now, I need to say this with a grain of salt. Everyone always says to me, why does your custom tactics have, for example, forward runs and everything? Now, the pros, of course, use forward runs. Even long ball, when I first started using it, everyone's like, pros don't use it. When pros started using it after, everyone's like, oh, they just kept their mouth shut. The truth is, you're not a pro player. If you're watching this video, why are you watching this video? You watch this video because you're trying to get better at the game. Now, pros know what they're doing. They'll put everything on 50 and everything on balanced. they don't need to change the depth, anything like that, because they know what they're doing. The most average player doesn't. Players in the box, you can leave as much as you want. I don't cross the ball, so I leave it normally on 4 or 3, but feel free to increase if you want to. These are the exact tactics that I would be using. If you do find this to be a bit too offensive, just reduce the depth to 45. So if you do find this to be a bit too on the offensive end, and you find you're sitting here saying, no, you know what, for me, I think this is a bit too offensive, then just decrease the depth. Now, when we move over now, to the instructions. We have stay forward, stay central, and I always put stay forward, stay central on my strikers, just because, me personally speaking, I want them to be in the center. If you put them sometimes on, I know people put them on drift wide, which I don't understand the point. I always want them in the middle, because sometimes these guys, they interchange. I don't want that. If this guy ends up running down the wing with a through ball, I want him to then run back to the central position, stay in the central area. I don't want anyone swapping with them. I wouldn't want my left mid and right mid coming into the central areas. So I would say try to get two, like I would say one guy like Ronaldo and Neymar. Try to get someone that's good in the ball. So me personally, I just play Nedved, or you can play Pulisic. I play Son and Pulisic because Son is a bit more clunky than Pulisic, and Pulisic can dribble. Now, one of the players I'll suggest getting behind. The fastest player, I would say, put him on getting behind. That's kind of my best advice. And if you want to, you can put one of these players in comeback and defense. Because Son's got the better stamina, I put him on comeback and defense. The other one on stay central, stay forward, and get it behind. See that? You got a good balance. Now, left mid and right mid. Just put them on both on comeback and defense. Now, with the chance creation and support runs, because we have the attacking support on balanced chance creation in the final third in the build-up play. So when you win the ball, you don't have to use getting behind because you got long ball anyway. Now, in this situation, long ball, typically speaking, is more in the final third. Now, what you cannot, getting behind more in the final third. Now, what you can do is leave it unbalanced and always trigger these players going forward, because when you're in the final third, you might want to trigger those players when you want to. If you're not used to that, feel free to use getting behind. You can put stay wide as well, but that then defeats the purpose of the very narrow, or the quite narrow width. So what you can do is activate hug the sidelines, and basically you can emulate what I like to call a stay wide system. Don't use free roam and cut inside. I'll be honest, they don't really work that well. And if you want to, you can manually override to get the players inside the box for a cross. Both CDMs, I normally put them on cut passing lanes, stay back while attacking. That's the way that I do it. What I would say is, if you are not used to triggering one of your center mids going forward, so normally how I learn is to put Llorente there and put Nedved over there. If you're not used to, for example, having both of these players on stay back, you can put one of these guys on balanced. I'll tell you which players to use in these systems in a second. So what I would say is, one striker that's, or two that are very fluid, I would say, Ben Yedder and Neymar. But if you can choose Ronaldo and Neymar, one a bit tougher, I would say, or one a bit rigid that can cross or whatever, or if you like to head at the ball, you can do that. Left mid, right mid, you need to have fast players here. No one realistically above 85, below 85 sprint speed. If they got a 85 sprint speed, you should be putting a hunter on them. You want the fast pace here, so you can make the through balls with your left back and right back all the way to your wingers, as that's what you want to do. Both CDMs, I put them on stay back while attacking. You can have the most defensive player on stay back while attacking, and if you have someone like Llorente or someone like Renato Sanchez, I normally have like a Kante or Onyeka over there, and next to him I have like a Fred, Llorente, a Hullet, a player that can go forward and can shoot, Bruno Fernandes, KDB. You can leave them on balance if you want to. I would again put them both on stay back, and I'll use the L1 trigger to push them forward manually. That's my advice on that, but feel free to use balance if you find it's not worth it. Now, for the left back and right back, put them on stay back. I always put the normal overlap or conservative, just so you don't move out of position when it comes to a through ball. Because sometimes, if your opponent's got a CDM here and a striker there, sometimes they'll try to push in. I'd rather them always just stay there, and I can run back and defend manually. That way you don't get caught in behind. And overlap just means that if they do, and this is if they do a 1-2, they run on the outside, they overlap. You never want them to run the inside. Why? Because you end up pushing your attacking player on the wider area. Think about this carefully, okay? Imagine you're in real life, whatever team you support, man. Think about this, just a general question. When you have a fullback, they always go on the outside, okay? Now, why on earth would you want your fullback to go on the inside and your attacker to go on the outside? It makes no sense. Why would you want your more attacking player to be on the wing? So this is in case they do a 1-2, if that makes sense. And they stay a bit more wide anyway. As I said, but those are the instructions and tactics. Feel free, if you want to, you can always put direct passing or forward runs. But this is generally quite a good balance formation. What I would say to you is, let's say you use this formation, like, you know what, Neil, this is not working for me, then change it up. My job is to give you a template. Now, to be honest, the truth is a template is fine as is, it works. But let's say, for example, you might be a Division 10 player and you might say to me, you know what, this is just too attacking for me. Then make the changes yourself. If you're an elite player, realistically, you might say, you know what, Neil, I don't even need to use long ball because I trigger the players manually and that's it. You put it on balance. So adapt it to your playstyle. For more information, what I'll be doing is I'll be eventually releasing a video. I have attack patterns for the 4-2-3-1. I'll have a video on attack patterns, of course, for the 4-4-2 second variation. So you can watch that too on the channel. Don't forget, with the 2 CDMs, you do get the more stability when you're defending. So that's the benefit of using the CDMs. But anyway, guys, I have more videos on my Patreon series, patreon.com/NealGuides. Link is down below in the description if you want more information in regards to that. But that is a tactic structure for the 4-4-2. Thanks for watching, guys. Take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next week. Peace out.